Hey, this is Josh, and I am here to do a book review. That's what I'm going to do. I like reading books, and so I'm going to review some of the books that I read. And let me back up. When I say I like reading books, that's not completely true. The truth is, I like skimming books. Sometimes I'll find a book and I'll read it cover to cover. A lot of times I'm listening to a audiobook, and those audiobooks I will listen to cover, maybe 2 or 3 times. But for the most part, I love to buy books, collect books, take books from Goodwill, pick up books from Habitat. I like to go to the Goodwill outlets and buy, 10 books for 69 cents a pound or 65 cents a pound, whatever they cost. And then I bring them home and I put them on a bookshelf, or I put them in my office on a bookshelf, and I skim these books. I take them one at a time and I skim them. The problem with that is I'm always reading something and I can't remember where it came from. And I'm always looking at a book and going, how much of that have I read? And so I'm thinking what I'm going to do is take some time, pick up a book, spend an hour with it, and then do a little video and tell you about what I read. So here is the book we're doing first. This is the first book, What's the Least I Can Believe and Still Be a Christian? The author's name here is Martin Hardward. I'm not even going to try to say that name. Okay, I'm going to try Thielen. I don't know. I don't know how you would say that. Cool thing about reading is you don't have to read out loud all the time. And so you don't have to say hard words, but here I am talking, I got to say it. So what's the least I can believe and still be a Christian? First thing I thought when I saw this title was stupid title. Christianity is not about how much you believe or how little you believe or what your beliefs are. It's not about belief. It's about... But then I go, well, if thou shalt believe in the heart and confess with your mouth. So it does kind of start with belief, but what is it really about? Well, it's not really about belief. The word Christian first came about when people were calling people little Christ to make fun of them. Christians today get made fun of, but they sure don't get made fun of for acting like Jesus. Today, when we think of Christian, we think of these, raging fundamentalists, or we think about people that are doing things that are... I'm trying to say things I'm trying to figure out how to say this without offending people, but here's the bottom line. I didn't love the title. I opened the book up and I read in the preface that the title is about this conversation, this relationship Martin's having with a guy named Danny who's an atheist, and this atheist is kind of realizing, he says, I don't reject Christianity. Instead, I reject the way Christians package Christianity. And he said, tell me, Martin, what's the least I can believe and be a Christian? Now that makes the title very intriguing, and it made me want to read more of the book. So what Martin does is the first half of the book, he basically names 10 things that you don't have to believe to be a Christian. One of those things is, he says, you don't have to believe that God causes cancer, car wrecks, and other catastrophes. He says, just because I work incredible good out of unspeakable tragedies doesn't mean I orchestrate the tragedies. He's quoting The Shack. He's quoting Papa in The Shack saying that. And I thought, that's a pretty good clue. Hey, and when you're reading a book, I love to notice who else they're reading. And when they're reading a lot of people that you also have some respect and faith in, that's kind of cool. Another thing that he says, he also quotes from Marcus Borg's The Heart of Christianity. I'd love to do a review on that at some point. I need to do a review on The Shack the book, The Shack the movie. He talks about another thing that you don't have to believe is that Jews won't make it to heaven. You don't have to believe that bad people will be left behind. I probably ought to do a book review on the series Left Behind. It might be it might be one of those things where I'm just griping and complaining about all the stupid junk that they say. But anyway, so what's the least I can believe and still be a Christian? He says another thing that you don't have to believe to be a Christian is that everything in the Bible should be taken literally. You don't have to believe that. He mentions evolution. You don't have to believe that evolution and creationism are opposites. You can believe that God used evolution. Another thing you don't have to do is you don't have to be judgmental and obnoxious to be a Christian, to be a follower of Christ. I want to come back to this because there's another section that I want to read. And I only just talked about things that you don't have to believe to be a Christian. I do want to touch on the things that you can, that you do. What is the least, that you can believe and still be a Christian? Bottom line, would I recommend you reading this book? Yeah, I'd recommend picking it up. Spend an hour or two with it. There's some good stuff in here. I want to read you specifically one story from it that I just loved, and I'll do that in a separate little video.